For as simple as washing your hands regularly, keeping your environment clean and well ventilated, eating healthy, making healthier choices, knowing your numbers, and by that I mean checking your sugar level, your blood pressure, your lipid profile that will include cholesterol and all the variables. Doing all that could actually minimize your visit to the hospital. And that's where preventive medicine comes in. Preventive medicine generally is the medicine that focuses on prevention rather than curative. Now, like we always tell you on this show, as long as it is important to us as a people or to us as a nation, we'll put it on the front burner and we'll speak to it. And that's what we're doing today. Today, our focus is on the health, and we're looking at minimizing hospital visits and preventive medicine. You know, I am always excited each time you keep our company. It is, I know I've not told you, I knew something was wrong, I had not told you. It is your favorite weekend show, Weekend Deal, coming to you from the network service of the NTA. I told you I'm always excited, but I know someone who is equally as excited.
High patience.
Yes, it is with enthusiasm and unrelenting commitment that we take off today, as we often do. You know, for us at the Nigerian Television Authority, it's more than a job.
Yeah.
For us, it's a commitment to serve. When we turn up here every weekend, Saturday and Sunday, and on all our programs on the NTA, what we're doing is service to nation, service to the motherland. Over 200 million Nigerians depend on us for accurate, authentic, and real-time information, and trust us here. We never say no, we keep it coming, and we make sure it's fresh and on time. That's why when we're done here from 7 to 9, you can also catch us at midnight on all NTA stations, as well as on YouTube, where NTA series, NTA News, you get to see the replay of Weekend Deal. Now let's talk about medical professionals. When we're young patients, you know that almost every household, you'll be hearing words like, I thought I would study medicine. Oh, my son will study medicine. Chris, sure you know you're going to study medicine. Eventually, a few did study medicine, and it's those group of people, medical professionals all over the country, that we highlight, acknowledge, celebrate, and give kudos to for all their work and service to Nigerians everywhere. We know that it's not perfect, it's not yet to huru, but we thank you for what you've done so far. And of course, we won't forget Dr. Damien Bai. That's the head of the medical team here at the NTA, who always ensures that we have on-time medical service and always reminds us to go for our routine medical checkups, and sometimes bring the services here to us at the NTA when we're too busy to go out. I will not also forget Dr. Luyinka Olutoye. That's the amazing medical doctor who removed a baby from the womb at 6 months, did a surgery, put the baby back, and the baby was born no defect, perfecto, just like you and I. Nigeria, we didn't come to play. We came to take first position because it's our own. But we say welcome to Weekend Deal. Minimizing hospital visits is our focus. Let's do it together as always. We're riding the rodeo together with your messages, with your experiences. We'll share them with the world. My name is Thelma Obaze. It's Weekend Deal. Always delighted to have your company on the show. It's the time when we pay special attention to you and your health. Promoting longevity, promoting good health, minimizing hospital visit, because you know that your health is in your hands and there are little things you can do to ensure that to prevent ailments, because we all know that prevention is always better, safer, and cheaper than cure. That's why Francis spent some time talking with Dr. Susan Adams. That's a wellness aficionado. She was here some time ago, and she taught us about Reown. Okay, she was telling about that and more. While you enjoy the background feature, we will be moving over to our Visitors Lounge, where we'll begin. Okay, where we'll begin to play host to our medical professionals and experts today.
Yeah.
Let's spend some time with Francis for the background feature. See you soon.
How do you prevent and minimize hospital visits via preventive health? Well, in general, I tell everybody I love, just have a formula for a sickness-free life. The body does not like to be tossed up and down. Maybe today you wake up at 12, then you eat at midnight, then you wake up at 6 a.m. because you're already so tired and filled with cortisol and inflamed. You don't feel like eating, then you skip breakfast, etc. So number one, your breakfast should be consistent. It's either you're a breakfast person or you're not a breakfast person. A second thing that you can actually do is sleeping. Sleeping is a complete medicine. There's so many repair programs that God has put in the body while you're sleeping. So there's a lot of cleansing program in the body. There's a lot of repair, and you rest and come back because you're like a machine. If you keep running your car non-stop and you don't stop after like 48 hours or 24 hours, I mean, what do you think is going to happen to the machine? It's going to break. So that's why sleep is a complete medicine as a preventive measure. And the question will be, how many hours? As if you don't know how much sleep you need in your body. When you sleep well, you will know. So for some, it's a range. So, it's 8 hours. No, it's not 8 hours. It's a range. Somewhere around, the studied number, it's 7 hours. Obviously, it's plus or minus. But once you sleep beyond 9 to 10 hours, it actually causes sickness. So undersleep is bad, and oversleeping is bad. So these are small things that you have control over. Naturally, we talk about movement. I don't want to talk about exercise because people don't like exercise. Move the body so that things can circulate and go back and forth and stuff like that. So you have to move the body. And then there's this connection between the mind and the body. So in that space, we all know that we came from somewhere. There's this other spiritual thing that is around. And if you don't key into it, you'll be suffering from anxiety. Your heart, your mind is always shaking. And that can increase stress levels in the body. You see the BP will start coming up. Let me give you the biggest advice and the only birthday gift I give to my friends. I give you a card or enough money to do your medical checkup. So on your birthday gift to yourself is, let me see how I am when I'm 40. How am I when I'm 41? So if you're doing annual checkup, fix it on your birthday. So you know that, oh wow, this is a progression, and you already know your body. Do you understand? Step by step. Or you can do 2 times a year if you're like above 40 and above, especially for men, for their prostates and all of that. Anytime you go into a hospital, before they start any medicine, they put drip. Sometimes just the fluids, the patient is up. So what does that tell you? That when you're dehydrated, like you've already killed yourself, really. So I feel that we should pay attention to the food when we eat the food to make sure we have adequate amount of water in the body. To minimize hospital visits, you have to deliberately adopt a lifestyle or modify your lifestyle that will encourage that. You should take your vaccines on time. You should do your lab tests on time. You should have a doctor friend who will guide you on modification, and then embrace the ones that you have control over, such as drinking your water, sleeping, eating, exercising, and the whole 9 yards.
Weekend Deal today is captioned Minimizing Hospital Visits, Preventive Health and Wellness. Weekend Deal.
Oh, thank you so much, Francis, for always setting the tone and leading the conversation. If you're just joining us, it is Weekend Deal, your favorite weekend show. And this weekend, our focus is on preventive medicine, minimizing hospital visits. Do you know how it is when you're very sick and you go buy that drug, and once you take it the first day, the second day, a whole lot of us don't complete our doses. We feel better. What is the consequences of not finishing your drug? And now let's allow NTA Benin lead that conversation.
The high prevalence of incomplete medication administration and incomplete treatment plans amongst persons in Nigeria is becoming alarming. Experts say missing or omitting the routes of drug administration can have fatal consequences.
See, if they prescribe an antibiotic for you and say, take this antibiotic, 500 milligrams, 3 times a day, and you decided for whatever reason to reduce the dose to 250 milligrams, 3 times or even 2 times a day. You see, the dose that has been prescribed, research has been done, tests have been done, analysis have been done to say if you want to treat this organism, this is the dose you should use. If you use a dose that is smaller or that you didn't take for as long as you should take it, then the organism will not be eradicated.
Reviews have also demonstrated the close relationship between incomplete treatment plans and self-medication.
Because of poverty, a lot of people go across to patent medicine dealers, not even pharmacy. They don't even come to the hospital because they believe when they go to the hospital or pharmacy, they may spend more. They want to go to cheap places.
So many people, because of what is going on, because of the hardship, they are thinking if they should go to a doctor, what they will spend will be so much.
Practicing self-medication has been described as equally dangerous.
Self-medication should be avoided because number one, you may be treating the wrong thing. Number two, you may be using the wrong medication to treat. Number three, there can be side effects, complications of the treatment you are giving yourself, which you are not aware of. So, self-medication is a dangerous thing.
I'm a gynecologist. The girl will say, I want to do swab test. And then the lab man gives them a swab stick, a stick that they're supposed to use to collect the sample. Go and take it by yourself. They go into the toilet and then dip the swab stick into themselves and bring it back. That's wrong. If you are collecting that sample should be collected in the proper way. By the time the lady is dipping that into her body, she's picking up bacteria that are on the skin and everywhere, and not actually picking the bacteria, causing a problem.
On the other hand, the patient understanding of the doctor's prescription is one of the essential elements towards a successful treatment.
Eva, these drugs you are taking, was it prescribed by your doctor? It was not prescribed, but it's something I do take regularly.
Follow what your doctor says. It's as simple as that. It's not that the doctors are always right. Sometimes we make mistakes, even as doctors. But the mistake we make as a doctor is 1/10 as dangerous as the mistake you will make. But chances are that we won't make mistakes.
Addressing the harmful effects of incomplete treatment or medication course and the likes, it's therefore a matter of top priority.
What simple steps can you take and incorporate into your daily life to ensure that you stay in good health and that you promote longevity? We have our experts in the house. They will lead and guide our conversation talking about minimizing hospital visits. It's my honor and my pleasure, and indeed a privilege, to introduce our first guest, Dr. John Toagbide. His focus, for the most part, is about integrated medicine.
You're welcome to our show.
Thank you.
Okay, so our second guest is no stranger to the medical world. As a matter of fact, she holds her own strongly in that world. She is Dr. Abimbola Silva, a consultant, a family physician, and a CMD, Taproben Medical Center.
Nice to be here. Thank you for having me.
Thank
you.
Okay, let's touch down in Lagos. Our friends are there. And that good friend who will be bringing his experience, vast experience, to our conversation today is Dr. Ebun Ladipo Bangboye. He's a nephrologist, and there's lots more. Hello, Dr. Ebun. Good morning.
Morning, Thelma. How are you?
All doing very well here. Welcome to Weekend Deal. Minimizing hospital visits. I'm the one to bring to the center stage the importance of preventive medicine. Why is it essential for us to prevent ailments rather than wait to start to cure them? And what ought we to do in that regard?
That question is to me. Yes, okay. Well, as you said in your intro, prevention is always better and less expensive than cure. And I think looking at patients in my subspecialty will probably be the best way to reflect that. I basically deal with patients who have developed kidney failure and require dialysis and transplantation. And if you're going to do a transplant today, you'll be needing anything between 10 and 20 million. If you're on dialysis, you require roughly about 50,000 for each session, and you need to do that 3 times a week, indefinitely for the rest of your life. So even in the developed world where they have plenty of funds to be able to cope with such issues, you find that they're finding it difficult to cope. So whatever you can do that would help prevent the need for you to go down that very expensive road, it is advised that you do. And what are the things that commonly cause kidney failure in our environment? You're looking at hypertension, you're looking at diabetes, you're looking at chronic infections, all of which are very easily early detected and in some instances prevented. So prevention is always better than cure. Hypertension, which is one of the more common causes, affects easily about 40 to 50% of individuals. And only about 30% of those who have hypertension know that they have it. Of those who know that they have it, only about 30% of them are on treatment. And of the 30% on treatment, only 30% are well controlled. Now, if you have something basic like hypertension, which is so common, and you don't know that you have it, quite likely you're going to end up with one of the numerous complications that can occur. Apart from kidney failure, of course, we know it's also one of the major factors that leads on to strokes, that leads on to heart failure. And all these are debilitating chronic illnesses that if you get, the cost and intense nature of treatment that is required to maintain health are such that such individuals are more or less, destined to a very early death, if I may use that word. So prevention is better, and when you talk about prevention, you're then talking in terms of what you as an individual can do, what we can do to groups of people, and what we as government, or what government should also be looking at. But basically what I would focus on is what you as individuals should be able to do. And it consists of making sure that you detect early. And early detection involves ensuring that you present and do simple checks. So if you present in a hospital, even if it's for malaria or you have diarrhea, it's important that you also do those basic checks. And even if you don't have any illness, basically everyone should, at a certain age, ensure that they do regular checks. And what usually advised is that once you reach the age of 40, give a general medical checkup to yourself as your birthday present. And make sure that the basic things are done. Your blood pressure is checked. Your blood sugar is checked. And also, you make sure that urine test is done to make sure that there are no long-term complications that may have developed at that time. But basically, early detection is important. But what is also important is what I think we're focusing on today, which is prevention. And we'll talk about that as the program progresses.
Not even overemphasize. I mean, dialysis 50,000 every week, and you need 3 times a week. That sent shivers through me. Dr. Agbide, preventive medicine, minimizing hospital visits. Do you think as Nigerians we check ourselves regularly? Like, just go for your check. Do you think we're doing enough in checking ourselves once we are not, no symptoms is up? Do we check ourselves? Do you go for medical checkup?
Well, the truth is we don't.
Mm-hmm.
And that is as a result of lack of knowledge, lack of awareness. Let me start off by a very popular statement that we do make, that we are born to live and die. How well we live and how soon we die depends on our lifestyle. Between health and disease is a wide continuum. The only thing that links them together is your lifestyle. Now, if you don't live a healthy lifestyle, you develop disease. And the importance of prevention is well articulated with the fact that we have to do regular checkups, as you said, and living the right lifestyle. From the time we're born until the time we die, the body has the innate ability to defend itself, and that is what we call your immune system. Now, if you live in the right lifestyle, your immune system, I will put it in my own word, is well articulated. And you will be defended from disease. I was just talking with Thelma before the beginning of the program on malaria. Why do we get malaria? Simply because our immune system has been compromised. If you have a buoyant and an articulate immune system, right from that time that parasite comes into your body, the immune system recognizes it as being foreign, and it will go ahead and then attack it. And you don't. You will not come down with malaria. However, let me use this opportunity to also espouse on the fact that the world immune system is kind of underplayed. It's a very complex thing. Maybe back in school in those days, over maybe 40 years ago, the emphasis when you're looking at the immune system, you're looking at maybe the cells, you talk about the immune cells, you talk about the white blood cells, the T lymphocytes, and stuff like that. But today we've come to gain a better understanding of what immune system is. Let me give an example. When you talk about lifestyle, and I'm going to be emphasizing on that in the course of our discussion. This vitamin D that is the key and the father of what drives what you call the immune system.
That's the sunlight.
Yes, the sunlight. What is the vitamin D?
Amidst that, in addition to the sunlight.
What is vitamin D?
Actually, if you want to get the story right, you don't get vitamin D from the sunlight.
Really?
You get vitamin D from what you eat.
Secondary
what the sunlight basically does is through the UV light activates the inactive form of vitamin D, which is called D3, to its own active form. This goes through what you call biotransformation reactions, starting from the liver to be converted to the first form, which is called 1-hydroxycholecalciferol. Then it goes to the kidney, and it will be converted to an additional and final form, which is 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol. That is what it is. And let me also make this point. Vitamin D is not even the vitamin. Vitamin D is a hormone, because vitamins don't have receptors in the body, if you want to go a little bit detail. But vitamin D has its own receptors in the body. I think we've come to a point where that wrong notion should be corrected.
Okay.
So, in terms of prevention, what we do, especially in my center, is that every individual that comes in, we have to check the vitamin D, levels. When we started the practice about maybe 10 years ago, there was only one place, same lab. They were the ones that were doing vitamin D assays for us. They had to send it to South Africa, and it used to take 2 weeks. But now with advances in technology, we have acquired machines. You come to our center, you get your vitamin D level the same day.
Okay.
So vitamin D is a key component.
But how do you get vitamin D? Please,
Well,
I know.
let Dr. Silva. Let Dr. Silva come in. Dr. Silva has been nodding since. You are listening to Dr. John Tuagidi. For many years, we thought, all our teachers told us, maybe then the knowledge was not as common as it is now. They were like, don't make sure you get your vitamin D from the sunlight.
I was going to ask for a refund.
Our guardians and parents tell us, don't miss that early morning sun. Because your good health begins from there.
Is really important. But let me interject here a little bit. If you want to know, vitamin D is really, and I would emphasize, key. Let me defer to...
the fact remains that what they taught us, that don't miss the morning sun, there's truth in it. And he explained it. There's the bar particles are already inside you, but the sunlight activates what is already inside you. But I don't want us to belabor that point. I want to quickly touch on what our consultant nephrologist talked about. How if I see, generally, public health generally, we see prevention in 3 levels. The first level being that the things we do, what we have talked about, exercise, eating right, in fact, not eating sugar at all is a wonderful thing. Just make sure you avoid sugar. There's no benefit to it. Alcohol has no benefit. Keeping away from those things. So exercising regularly, eating properly, that's the first level of trying to make sure you don't get the disease. Now, if for any reason, the second level is to screen, to check and find out, because yes, our body tells us things, but at times the body doesn't even really give you any signal. And so in that case, you have to be able to check, screen, and find out. That's why they talked about regular checks. Now the next level is, okay, we have checked and we found something. Maybe blood pressure is now high, and they have put you on medication or some kind of treatment. The prevention aspect of that is to ensure that you obey the rules. Take the medication regularly so you don't become the statistics that the nephrologist talked about. Because there are lots of people with blood pressure and they're doing very well. It's not everybody that has hypertension that has kidney disease. No. If indeed they have been found to have elevated blood pressure and you have been given, or even diabetes, cholesterol, and you have been given medication, the key is to take them regularly. Because unfortunately, most of these medications work for 1 day.
Wow.
So you take it today, your blood pressure is fine, sugar is normal. If you don't take tomorrow, it may go right back up.
Things will start to...
So the prevention aspect is preventing complications. You are trying to make sure you don't develop kidney problem, heart. So even if you have elevated blood pressure, it's not a death sentence. There are ways you can prevent those bad things from elevated
prevent fatality in the long run. Okay, you know, earlier we saw a feature about not completing dosage. What we often do in Nigeria, or maybe all over the world, I don't know, but we do it here. Once you start to feel better,
you just abandon your drugs.
Malaria.
Yes, malaria is the worst hit.
The rest, the medicine, just put it inside that small basin or bucket or that shelf, and it begins to gather dust. Good thing many of us have done that and are still here today. That may not be the case going forward. I want to go back to Lagos, if I may, just to bring him back into our conversation. You know, the reason why we're discussing this is not that people do not know. Nigerians are very forward-looking people, very sophisticated. They know a lot. They read, they are aware. What limits us, Dr. Bangboy, maybe you will share with us, what has limited us from developing a health-seeking behavior over time? Because what we're hearing now, we've got some new knowledge, but we are hearing some things we have heard before, and we've read about it before. Dr. Bangboy, are you there? What limits Nigerians or human beings from developing a health-seeking behavior, from going out there to get the information and the treatment and the counsel that they need? Some say it's funds.
Well, funds definitely can and is often a factor, but there are so many other factors that we must also, in a program like this, discuss. Lack of knowledge is another. Misapplication of available knowledge is another. And that's where the roles that different people play, you know, in this health prevention and promotion comes into play. Excuse me. So when you talk about health prevention, it's basically a lot of the things that we as health personnel should do to the individuals and small groups. But when you talk about health promotion, you're looking at what government through the Ministry of Health and other such factors should do. Because you look into your environment and you say, what are the common conditions that are responsible for illness and ill health in your society? So you talk about hypertension, you talk about diabetes, and you look at what are the risk factors that promote the prevalence of such conditions. So you're looking at things like you're eating too much salt. Dr. Silva has mentioned eating sugar. You're looking at things like smoking. So these are things that, in terms of health promotion, at the level of government should be instituting factors that would ensure that we reduce the risk levels for individuals developing those problems. So you're looking at, for instance, in the US, there was a time they said, look, you have to reduce the amount of sugar in your carbonated drinks. You have to reduce the amount of salt that you take. And of course, we know worldwide efforts are ongoing to make sure we prevent people from smoking. So these are things that would look at primordial and what we call primary prevention. But then at the level of the individual, you know, these are things that you need to emphasize. So it's not enough for a patient to come in and see you as a doctor, and you just go ahead and check for the malaria that he has. It's an opportunity for you to also give some health education to every patient that comes to you. We all, because of the nature of the urbanized culture that we've all developed, we all have this habit. We wake up in the morning, we eat breakfast, we get into our car, chauffeur-driven to work, sit at work throughout the day, don't get up to walk, come finish at work, get into the car, sit in front of the television, eat our food, go back to bed. These are all factors that we know would promote a lot of the common conditions that lead on to the more severe illnesses that we're exposed to. So we must start to emphasize the need for us to exercise a lot more. We all are becoming obese. Statistics are showing that 30-40% of individuals are becoming overweight to obese, if not more. And it's because we're not exercising enough, and we're eating the wrong things. We are leaving all the traditional meals that we were accustomed to. We're more likely now to want to eat fast foods, and fast food restaurants are all over the place. And all of them, to make sure that you're eating, you come back to eat their food, they put a lot of spices, they put a lot of all kinds of things that are not necessarily healthy for you as an individual. So we need to emphasize the fact that we need to go a lot more natural. Some emphasis has been made as to making sure that you exercise quite a bit. And these days it's easy. You have watches that tell you how many steps you've made in a day. And it's recommended that you should do between 8 to 10,000 steps a day. And then we're all sitting. And we're sitting for prolonged periods. It's been said that sitting is the new smoking. And just sitting for prolonged periods has been known to lead to a lot of, illness that you may not even have fathomed could happen. Aside from the fact that, of course, you could, because you're not walking, you don't exercise enough, it could enhance the risk of your becoming obese. But also there's the risk of DVT. There's so many risks that can occur from sitting. So you must get up every hour. Make sure that you get up and walk for at least 10 minutes, if not more. You should avoid smoking. You should try and exercise a lot more. And you should try and eat a lot more healthily. These are things that we know would help promote and prevent illness on the long term.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bangboye. Thank you. We'll come back to you in the course of our conversation. But I'm being told that NTA Abuja put together a package talking about personal hygiene. Like earlier on, Patience, you shared on the show that there are little things, little habits, healthy habits we can imbibe that will promote longevity. NTA Abuja, please share. What did you find out there?
Maintaining a good personal hygiene is necessary for numerous reasons, having to do with our social life, health, or simply as a way of life. Many infectious diseases and conditions can be prevented or controlled through appropriate hygienic routines, but some of these routines are detrimental to our health.
As individuals, we all have different pathways, but globally, there are basic principles for personal hygiene. The reason why it is called personal hygiene and not general hygiene is because you need to protect yourself first. I like to start with my gender, women, for instance, because we're very intentional about how we look. So we tend to have certain protocols we put up that may eventually become detrimental to our health. And there are quite a number, but I'd like to focus on our reproductive health hygiene. Permit me to use that language. So you find that a lot of women want to stay clean, and when they wash their private parts, they tend to do the extra washing. They're using all sorts of chemical products. They wash up to the inner parts. But what they do not understand is that the way the body is made, the body is made, especially that part of the body, is made to auto-cleanse itself. There are secretions, there are microorganisms that actually live there and are a natural part of that environment, and they are designed to help protect the environment from invading microorganisms. But here's what happens. When we cleanse, when we clean that environment, or we actually clear out the defense mechanism of that environment. Now, what does that do? The infection we're looking to run away from, that's what exposes us. The men too are not left out. The men are not left out. There are men who wear boxers 12 days. It's still on. Oozing, and guys, no sandal. But it's not supposed to be.
There is this mistake that a lot of people do when it comes to hand washing. When you wash your hand with soap and water, you're not going to put hand sanitizer. It's a wrong practice. So most of the times when the water is not available, that you put the hand sanitizer. When you put the hand sanitizer, then you have to rub. It is advisable you have your small hand sanitizer either in your car, in your pocket. So by the time you come from such public places, you know.
How does good personal hygiene aid in maintaining our overall health and minimizing our hospital visits?
Hand washing is very key to preventing a lot of diseases of the gastrointestinal tract, quote and unquote, stomach bugs, stomach diseases. Keeping your clothes clean keeps ringworms away, as opposed to having the disease and then using antifungal or antibacterial. So personal hygiene, in essence, would keep you living longer and a happier life, as disease will be kept at bay.
We are used to, or we're told that when you go to the toilet, wash your hands after. But they don't remember to tell us to wash our hands before we use the toilet. Several conditions that people experience today that make them land in the hospital and stay so long, or may even lead to death, is as a result of preventable causes.
Regular hand washing, which plays a vital role in our personal hygiene, assisted in the reduction of the spread of the coronavirus during the COVID-19 pandemic. But that's all in the past, as people are paying less attention to their hand washing, leading them to forget the appropriate way to wash the hands.
We're meant to wash our hands for nothing less than at least 20 seconds under running water.
Okay. Thank you so much, Ore, NTA Abuja, for that enlightening piece. Dr. John Agbide, your focus is on integrated medicine. What exactly is integrated medicine, and what do you expect from it?
Thank you very much for that question. I think it's time for us to talk real here. You see, I would like to summarize what the two doctors have said by re-emphasizing the fact that disease is a process. Now, I always give an analogy. It's like going from here to Lagos or Port Harcourt. Consider Abuja to be safe. So where did I meet you in your process of traveling? That is the beginning of the disease. Is it at the airport? It is easier for me to bring you back to Abuja. But if I got you in Ibadan, it takes a longer time and more effort. That's why we lay emphasis on prevention. That in the analogy that I have given, you should remain in Abuja. You should not get to the airport and start heading on to Lagos that will even get you at the point of Ibadan. That is it. However, let me emphasize this. Yes, integrative medicine gives a holistic approach to wellness, disease prevention, and disease management. In integrative medicine, we don't talk of disease treatment because disease is too complex for you to say that you are treating. It is not a bacteria cause alone, especially these days where you have non-communicable diseases like cancer, hypertension, and diabetes. These are things that have taken time. The etiopathogenesis have taken so many years. For example, it takes over 10 years for cancer to develop. So, what am I saying here? Yes, the conventional approach to disease treatment is really great, but as we all agree, conventional approach actually stops the progression, just like has been alluded by my colleagues. It stops the progression of the disease. Here you come to integrative medicine, we tell you that, look, you were not born diabetic, you were not born hypertensive. So it is possible for us to go into you, recreate you, and reverse the type 2 diabetes, and reverse the hypertension. It is being done.
It's possible to reverse hypertension.
Of course. You were not born like that. It is, as I said earlier, it's just as a result of lifestyle. But maybe by the way we were trained before in a more focused way. So once you are on diabetic medication or hypertensive medication, you will be on life. What really caused this diabetes? You must look at those factors. And if you get rid of those factors by way of modified lifestyle, you will now be able to work on the body to get it back. In summary, there is what we call fundamentals of disease management. Detoxification is really key. Most of these diseases, if you look at the mechanisms of disease, is caused by accumulation of toxins in the body. Typically, when a cell, which is a unit of life, is challenged by a toxin, the body has, the cell has three options. It will fix, correct it, what you call DNA repair, or the cell will say, no, this environment has changed, I cannot survive here, I will commit suicide. That's what we call apoptosis. Or if it's fair to do the first one, cell repair and apoptosis, that is why it goes to uncontrollable division of the cells, and that's how cancer is actually formed. So in looking at this, if we're able to go in, detoxify the individual very well, then we talk about nutrients. Nutrition is what drives the immune system. I had earlier talked about the immune system. So we would now do nutritional balance. That is intravenous nutritional infusion or nutritional supplementation.
Okay.
Then you now do what we call cell membrane optimization. In those days, we were taught that the most important part of the cell is the nucleus. No, the most important part of the cell is the cell membrane. So we do cell membrane optimization. And if you look at the constituent of the cell membrane, 70 to 80% of the cell membrane is made up of omega-3. This is what we talk about, omega-3. That's what goes to correct, the cell membrane, so that you restore it back. Okay. In summary, let me say this.
Okay.
As we're talking, there are various causes of, diseases. Why do we get disease? Let me summarize it by what we call a 7-letter word. We say that is the cause of disease. D stands for, deficiency of micronutrients. A stands for abuse. If you abuse the body, it leads to, what? Disease. Then that T stands for, toxins, which I have already mentioned. Then you talk about I. The I stands for infections. There are infectious diseases. Then the double S stands for sedentary living, that is the emphasis on exercise. And the last S stands for what? Sleep.
Okay.
I cannot overemphasize the importance of sleep. So take take home message. And there are several things.
We're not done. We're not done.
We're not done. Let me summarize.
Okay. On that angle where you are, you've just mentioned a lifestyle in a way. And NTA Knowledge has done something about lifestyle.
Yes.
Our lifestyle. What is your lifestyle? Are you adhering to what Dr. Toagbide is saying? But let's see. What did NTA Knowledge find out there? You did the research. Please share the information.
It's for her to feel comfortable while breathing. Like if she's facing down, her face can be inside here, so that she'll be comfortable during the section. Now we are doing the Swedish massage.
To keep the body in good health is a duty to enable us keep our minds strong and clear. Lifestyle factors such as diet, exercise, plays significant role in shaping an individual's health.
I am not a medication person, so the first thing I do, I come for a massage like I have just done, and I feel so good. My therapist was so nice, and I feel rejuvenated. I feel like I am ready to take on the world.
Informed decisions regarding lifestyle factors can either promote optimal health or contribute to the development of chronic diseases and other related health issues.
So basically, susceptibility is like if a person is being susceptible to an illness, it just basically means that person is most likely to get an illness, or that person lacks resistance to an illness. We have different factors or several factors that can affect a person's likability or susceptibility to get an illness. One, age, increase in age, gender, meaning if it's a female or a male, race, whether you're white or you're black or you're Asian, the integrity of the immune system. The integrity of the immune system in the sense that there's so many things that can cause immune incompetence, like pre-existing diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, poor nutrition, stress, some medications, and then the next thing, the environment. That means the hygiene and the quality of the food we eat, the quality of the water we drink, and the quality of the air we breathe.
Feeling good about yourself and taking care of your health are important for your self-esteem and image. What do you think is right for your body?
You can do a lot of things to avoid going to hospital. One of them is regular exercise, either in the day, in the morning, or in the evening, maybe after work. And as well, try as much as possible to eat a lot of fruits.
To avoid coming as a casualty, just eat right, exercise right, and maintain a stable mental health.
The way I, as a young person, can stay healthy is that, first of all, I have to reduce screen time and go to bed early. I have to exercise and also mind what I eat. That is, eat healthy, eat lots of fruits.
Indoor activities and outdoor activities can go a long way in helping an individual.
Ensure that you have consistent bedtime schedule. You sleep at the same time, you wake up at the same time. 1. 2, you should set up a relaxing bedtime ritual or habit. For example, before going to bed, take a warm bath, maybe take a warm milk, or take chamomile tea, but nothing with caffeine. So try to avoid taking anything caffeine or alcohol before going to bed. Avoid taking heavy meals or large meals before going to bed. And then your environment. Your environment should be at least a comfortable temperature. Why I say a comfortable temperature, maybe during the warm season, it should be cool. During the cold season, it should be warm. Your bed sheets or your surroundings should be clean. You can even do a few exercises, like very calm exercises.
The truth is, sometimes we don't need medications to solve most of our health challenges. We just need to rest, because in this crazy busy world, all we just need to do sometimes is just sit back, relax. Just 1 hour, 2 hours of your time can help you solve a whole lot of issues and make you feel better.
Take care of your body and it will take care of you. Those who don't find time for their health will find time for illness.
We are wrapping up our conversation with you. We thank you for being a part of the program. Give us one catchphrase that Nigerians can hold on to as we talk about minimizing hospital visits. One catchphrase, a sentence. Thank you as you sign off. Sign off.
Yeah, what I was actually going to emphasize on is one thing that has been, some comment that has been made, and that is the use of the cell phone. There's a new epidemic that is out there that I think an opportunity like this should not be should not allowed to go, is many of us are always on the phone. Because of that, we're developing what we call text neck. And it's advised that if you have to be on your phone, you put it at a level that ensures that you don't accelerate the degeneration of your neck. So less time on the phone, and if you have to use it right. That's the last word from me.
Dr. Agbide, encapsulate what we have been talking about.
Yes. Let me, first of all, make clarification to what I said earlier on integrative medicine. In fact, the emphasis is on personalized treatment or personalized management. A and B are not the same. The things I've said are just for general. But the way I would manage diabetes in A is not the same way I will manage diabetes in B. That is number one. The second point I would also like to clarify is that these days, some of these modalities that have come up, there is what we call oxygen utilization. The body's ability to utilize oxygen is what gives energy to the cell. So if your body is not utilizing oxygen properly, we lay a lot of emphasis on this in our practice, these days. Medicine has actually evolved. The way we understand how the body works today is very different from even 20 years ago. Like, for example, things like ozone therapy, they've become really big in integrative medicine. And what is ozone therapy? You're simply delivering oxygen to the cell for the cell to make energy. We say in integrative medicine that disease is nothing but decreased ability of the body cells to utilize oxygen to make energy. Once the cell doesn't have energy, that is the beginning of disease.
Who needs ozone therapy and when?
Everybody. You need it too.
Even when you think you are okay.
Oh yes, it is. Yeah, it's for prevention. You just helping your body, especially as you age. The body has been challenged over the ozone. Stimulates your immune system, which we talk about. It is anti-inflammatory. It enhances metabolic activities. So who wouldn't like to benefit from this? But the emphasis is that it should be used by people who are trained and qualified and know what they are doing. Not that you just jump in and just. There are over 23 ways of giving ozone, what we call protocol, but that is a story for another day. And it should be handled by experts. Lastly, I would like to introduce another topic which is really very important in medicine now. It is called the use of nitric oxide. I mentioned it earlier. Nitric oxide now has become a big partner in in medical approaches, both for wellness, disease management, and disease prevention. Nitric oxide is a molecule that was discovered 40 years ago, and its prime function in the body is a dilatation of the blood vessels. Common sense tells me that if you dilate the blood vessels, then the blood is able to flow better. Nutrients are better delivered. Oxygen is even better delivered. So I just want to.
So who also needs that? Everyone.
Everyone, you need it. It's
part of wellness.
Prevention, part of wellness.
Minimizing visits doesn't mean don't go at all, or don't go if you are not ill. When ought we to go then?
Good. Thank you very much for that question. So minimizing visits means that you plan the visit. You do things to ensure that you don't go in emergency situation. So this is what we're saying. When you do all this, improve your lifestyle, you're preventing disease, you're eating right, you're sleeping well, and you're taking your medications regularly. When you plan your visits, is to go and check and make sure all is well. And that is what wellness is about. Not waiting to be sick, which is what we all do. We wait to be really sick before we finally go. But if we plan it in a way that when we're fine, let's check. Make sure I'm fine. And then
you're going to see a friend, going to visit patients, for example.
So check your blood pressure, check your sugar, check your numbers, and then continue to live the lifestyle. So you will minimize because you're already making the effort.
Supplements. A lot of people go to some people's houses, a whole lot of supplements. Where is the place of supplements in keeping well?
And what type should we take? Women and men, do we take the same?
True, there's some supplements that you should take, mainly because of the way we cook our food, the kind of food we eat, not because we actually really need them. If we are able to cook our food properly, because sometimes when we're cooking we destroy some of the nutrients inside the food anyway. So if you're able to take your time to cook the food properly, you're able to ensure you're eating the right food, the amount of supplements you need will be minimal. And if so if you do all those things, for women as they're growing old, there's osteoporosis, so we talk about taking vitamin D supplements, calcium supplements to ensure that your bone is healthy and strong. But really, if you're eating right, the amount of supplements living well, the amount of supplements you need are minimal.
Do we need to see a doctor before we start to take supplements, or we can just go off the counter and purchase them?
It might be better to see a doctor in the sense that they will check the parameters first, see what it is you lack, and then advise you. Oh, you lack, for example, you say your sodium is low. Okay, we'll give you some medication slow K to help. Otherwise, you can just eat enough bananas, and then your potassium will come back up. So when they check you first,
we hold hands as we say goodbye. Please, patients, feel free to embrace Dr. Nigerians the world over, it's been a pleasure talking with experts about our Medicare and longevity. Let's continue to promote our good health.
Goodbye. God bless you.
We love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. God bless.